Mina wiped the grease from her hands and looked around her small garage. Tools hung neatly on the walls and engines sat in various stages of repair. The sun shone through the dusty windows, casting long shadows across the concrete floor. She loved working with machines. Every bolt, every wire, every engine part told a story. Mina believed that if she listened carefully, the machines could speak. It was early morning when the bell above the garage door jingled. Mina turned toward the sound. An old man stepped in. He wore a faded jacket and carried a worn leather bag. His face was lined with years of hard work, but his eyes were bright and steady. Behind him she saw an old pickup truck parked on the street. Its paint was scratched, and rust crept along the edges. The tires were flat and the engine hissed weakly like it had not been used in years. "Good morning," Mina said, offering a friendly smile. "How can I help you today?" The man cleared his throat. "I need this truck restored," he said. "I want it to run like it used to." Mina walked outside and inspected the vehicle. The truck was sturdy, a model from decades ago. She ran her fingers along the hood, noticing the dents and scratches. Despite its age, there was something noble about it. It had a presence as if it had carried more than just cargo over the years. "Restoring it will take some time," Mina said. "It's been through a lot. But I think I can do it." The old man nodded slowly. "I want it done right," he said. "It means more than just a truck to me." Mina opened the hood. The engine was a tangle of wires and metal. She could see that some parts were completely worn out. Others were covered in years of oil and dust. As she studied it, she noticed small markings on the metal, symbols she did not recognize, almost like a language of machines. She paused, curious, but the man's eyes were on her. She decided not to ask about it yet. Some things were meant to be discovered in time. "Do you want me to start right away?" Mina asked. "Yes," the old man replied. "But please take care. This truck has its stories." Mina smiled. "I always do." Over the next few days, Mina worked carefully. She cleaned the engine, replaced worn-out parts, and tightened every bolt. She talked to the truck as she worked. "You will run again soon," she said, brushing her hands over the rusted panels. "I promise." Each evening, Mina returned home exhausted but satisfied. She often thought about the old man and the way he looked at the truck. There was a quiet sadness in his eyes, but also pride. It made her wonder what stories the truck held. She imagined it driving across wide roads, carrying memories of adventures and people long gone. One afternoon, Mina found a small compartment hidden beneath the dashboard. It was locked, and she could not open it. She showed it to the old man. "This has been here a long time," Mina said. "Do you want me to open it?" The man shook his head. "Not yet," he said softly. "Some stories are meant to stay hidden until the right time." Mina nodded. She did not press further. Some things required patience, and she had learned that machines sometimes revealed their secrets slowly. While she worked, she noticed that the truck's frame was unusual. Some of the metal seemed stronger than normal. Some wires glowed faintly when she touched them. Mina had never seen anything like it in a vehicle this old. She frowned, but kept working. She knew that repairing it would require not just skill, but creativity and care. She liked challenges, and this one felt special. Days passed, and Mina began to form a routine. She arrived early in the morning, brewed a cup of coffee, and started with the engine. She replaced old belts, cleaned filters, and tested electrical systems. Every time she fixed a problem, she felt a small victory. Slowly, the truck seemed to respond to her touch. It no longer hissed and coughed. It purred softly, almost like it recognized her care. The old man visited occasionally. He watched silently as Mina worked. Sometimes he would smile faintly or nod when she solved a difficult problem. Mina appreciated his quiet support. She felt a bond forming between them, a mutual respect that needed no words. One evening, after a long day of work, Mina sat on the floor beside the truck, wiping sweat from her forehead. The sun was setting, casting golden light across the garage. The truck looked tired but alive. She ran her hands over the steering wheel and spoke gently. "You have seen so much," she said. "I can only imagine the places you have been. I will make sure you run again, and I will respect your stories." The old man's voice broke the silence. "Thank you, Mina," he said quietly. "That means more than you know." Mina looked at him. "I only do what I love," she said. "Machines have hearts too, you know. They just speak in their own language." The old man smiled. "Perhaps you understand them better than most people." As the days went on, Mina noticed more unusual things. Some wires seemed to carry energy differently. Some panels were engraved with tiny symbols. She examined them closely but could not figure out their meaning. Still, she continued her work, careful not to damage anything. She felt as if the truck itself was guiding her hands, showing her what needed repair. One morning, Mina found a hidden drawer beneath the passenger seat. Inside were old papers and photographs. They showed the truck in different places with different people, and some included the old man when he was much younger. Mina studied the photos and saw determination and courage in his eyes. She realized that this truck had been part of an important life, and the man's past was far richer than he let on. She returned the drawer to its place and closed it carefully. The old man entered the garage at that moment. He looked at her and then at the truck. "You are doing well," he said. "Better than I expected." Mina smiled. "I am learning from you as well," she said. "This truck has character, it tells a story." He nodded. "Some stories are hard to tell," he said. "But one day you may understand everything." Mina felt a thrill of anticipation. She wanted to know the story, but she also respected the man's wishes. For now, she focused on her work, letting the truck guide her. She cleaned every part, replaced what was broken, and polished every surface until it gleamed. Each day, she felt a deeper connection to the vehicle and the man who trusted her with it. By the end of the first week, the truck looked stronger. The engine ran smoother. Mina tested the brakes and lights, making small adjustments. The truck responded eagerly, as if it appreciated the care it was receiving. Mina felt proud. This was more than a restoration. It was a partnership between human skill and machine endurance. The old man watched her one evening as she tightened the last bolt on the engine. He leaned on his cane and said softly, "You have a gift, Mina. Not many people could do what you are doing." Mina looked at him and smiled. "I do not just fix machines, I listen to them, I understand them." He nodded. "That is why I came to you. This truck is important, but not just for its parts. It carries a lifetime of experiences. I knew someone with heart and skill would do it justice." Mina felt a warmth in her chest. She had not expected such praise, but it motivated her. She wanted to give everything she had to the project. She wanted the truck to run perfectly, and she wanted to honor the man's past, even if she did not yet know the full story. The sun set behind the garage, casting long shadows across the floor. Mina leaned against the workbench, looking at the truck with admiration. She could almost see the roads it had traveled, the places it had been, and the lives it had touched. She whispered quietly, "I will take care of you. I promise." The old man stood silently, watching her. He knew she would, and he felt a rare sense of relief. For the first time in many years, he allowed himself to hope that the truck would run again, and that its story would be preserved. Mina cleaned her tools and prepared to leave for the day. She looked back at the truck and smiled. Tomorrow she would continue. She did not know what secrets the truck held or what revelations awaited her, but she was ready. She was ready to listen, to learn and to honor the story hidden within the metal and wires. As the garage grew quiet and the sun disappeared below the horizon, Mina felt a sense of purpose. This was not just another job. It was a journey, a connection between human skill and history, courage and memories. She did not know what lay ahead, but she knew one thing with certainty. She would see the project through no matter how long it took, and she would honor the trust given to her. Mina left the garage feeling excitement and anticipation. The truck sat quietly in the fading light, waiting patiently for the next day. Both mechanic and machine shared a silent promise. They would work together to restore not just the vehicle, but the legacy it carried. The next morning, Mina arrived at the garage with a fresh sense of purpose. The air smelled faintly of motor oil and sunlight, and the old pickup truck sat patiently in the center of the workshop, waiting for her hands to touch it again. She could feel the story inside the truck stirring, as if it was ready to reveal more of itself. She brewed her coffee and carried it to the workbench. The old man Harold had not yet arrived. Mina took the opportunity to examine the hidden symbols she had noticed the previous week. They were etched into the metal in patterns she had never seen before. Some glowed faintly when her fingers brushed over them, as if the truck responded to her touch. Interesting, she whispered to herself. She had seen old vehicles, but nothing like this. The metal was stronger than normal, and some of the wiring seemed almost alive. It was as though the truck held secrets it did not want to reveal too quickly. Mina felt a thrill run through her. Challenges like this excited her because they pushed her skills to the limit. Harold arrived soon after. His steps were slow but steady, and he carried a small leather satchel over his shoulder. He smiled faintly at Mina, noticing the way she studied the truck so closely. "Good morning, Mina," he said softly. "Are you ready to continue?" "Good morning, Harold," she replied. "I think I have discovered something unusual. This truck is more than it seems. There are symbols etched into the metal and wiring that is unlike anything I have seen." Harold nodded, his expression unreadable. "I suppose that should not surprise you. That truck has been with me for many years, and it has seen things few others know." Mina's curiosity surged. "Seen things? What do you mean?" Harold's eyes flicked to the truck, and he said quietly, "Not everything in life is ordinary, Mina. Some stories are hidden, even from those who care most." Mina did not press him further. She had learned from experience that some truths revealed themselves in time. Instead, she opened the hood and began working on the engine. The gears were stiff and some parts had rusted through. She replaced belts and hoses, carefully cleaning each component before installing it. As she worked, she felt a connection growing between her and the truck. It seemed to trust her touch, as if it knew she was there to restore it fully. As the day progressed, Mina found more hidden compartments. Some were empty, but one contained small worn tools that did not belong to her. They were engraved with initials she could not recognize. She showed them to Harold. "These must be from someone who worked on the truck before me," she said. "Do you want to tell me who they belong to?" Harold shook his head. "Not yet," he said. "Some parts of the past are best left untouched until the right moment." Mina nodded. She respected his wishes, but the mystery excited her. She cleaned and repaired the parts she could, carefully noting each unusual component. Some wires glowed faintly, and small panels hummed softly as if powered by an invisible energy. Mina had never seen anything like it. She realized that the truck was more than just a vehicle. It might carry a story of intelligence and innovation far beyond what she had imagined. During lunch, Mina sat on a crate beside the truck. She studied photographs she had found in the hidden drawer beneath the passenger seat. They showed Harold standing proudly beside the truck in various locations. Some photos showed him in uniform she did not recognize. Others showed him with groups of people who seemed to be on missions. Mina noticed the determination in Harold's eyes even in the earliest photos. She could see pride, courage, and resilience. When Harold returned after a short walk, he noticed her studying the photographs. "Those are old memories," he said. "They are pieces of a life that most people never see. I suppose it is strange to share them, but perhaps the truck remembers them all the same." Mina smiled. "It is fascinating," she said. "This truck is not just a machine. It is history, and it carries your story." Harold's face softened. "Yes, it carries more than I sometimes care to remember," he said quietly. Mina felt a pang of empathy. She realized that the truck was a bridge between past and present. It carried memories that Harold had lived and preserved, memories that could teach lessons about courage, determination, and sacrifice. She returned to the engine, carefully inspecting the hidden wiring. She discovered small devices embedded within the frame that seemed to store data, some wires connected to panels she had not yet explored. Mina's heart raced. She had seen advanced technology before, but this was unlike anything she had ever encountered. It was hidden within an ordinary-looking vehicle, as though someone had intended to disguise it. "Harold," Mina said carefully, "I think this truck might be more than just an old pickup. It seems to have systems that are extremely advanced. It might even record things automatically." Harold's expression became serious. "Perhaps it does," he said. This truck has kept me safe more than once, and it has carried information that was too important to leave behind. I never expected anyone to see it. You are discovering parts of a story that was meant for very few. Mina felt a sense of awe. She realized that the old man had lived a life filled with secrets and responsibilities. She understood that restoring the truck was not just a mechanical task. It was a task of respect and trust. She worked carefully, making sure not to damage any part of the vehicle. As the afternoon wore on, Mina noticed that the truck responded differently to her touch than it had before. The engine hummed softly, and panels seemed to vibrate slightly when she tested them. She realized that the truck was alive in its own way. It had intelligence and memory, and it recognized the effort she was putting into restoring it. Mina continued her work with determination. She cleaned each part, replaced worn components, and adjusted the wiring. She spent hours studying the symbols and markings, trying to understand their purpose. Although she could not decipher them fully, she felt that they held important information, perhaps connected to the life of the man who had owned the truck for so long. By late afternoon, Mina had completed the major repairs on the engine. She tested it carefully, and to her relief, the truck purred with strength and confidence. It was not perfect yet, but it was alive again, ready to carry more than just cargo. Mina felt a sense of pride. She had restored part of history, and in doing so, she had formed a connection with the man who had trusted her. Harold watched quietly, leaning on his cane. "You are talented," he said. "Not many people could have handled this. The truck has seen a lot, and it can be sensitive." "You treated it with respect," Mina smiled. "I did what I love," she said. "I believe machines carry stories. You can see it in the way this truck responds. It remembers everything it has been through." Harold nodded. "Yes, it remembers, and so do I. Perhaps one day the stories will be shared more openly. But for now they must remain between the truck and those who understand it." As the sun began to set, Mina cleaned her tools and prepared to leave for the day. She looked at the truck one last time, marveling at its history and resilience. She felt a deep sense of purpose. This project was more than a job. It was a journey into the life of a man who had given so much and carried so much alone. That night, Mina could not stop thinking about the truck and Harold's past. She imagined the places it had traveled, the missions it had been part of, and the people it had carried. She realized that humans could achieve incredible things when guided by courage, skill, and determination. She felt inspired, knowing that she was touching something extraordinary. The next morning, Mina returned to the garage early. She had brought new tools and replacement parts, determined to continue her work. Harold arrived shortly after, carrying a small notebook. "This belonged to me years ago," he said. "It has notes about the truck and the missions it was part of. Perhaps it will help you understand its history." Mina accepted the notebook carefully. She opened it and found detailed diagrams, notes about mechanical systems, and cryptic messages about events she did not yet fully understand. The notebook confirmed her suspicions. The truck was more than just a vehicle. It was a repository of knowledge, experience, and memories. Over the next several hours, Mina worked with renewed determination. She repaired more components, studied the notebook, and tested the truck's systems. Each success brought a small victory, and the truck seemed to respond with life and energy. Harold watched quietly, his face softening with gratitude. "You are giving this truck a new life," he said. "But more importantly, you are preserving its story." "That is something very few people could do," Mina smiled. "I feel honored to be part of it," she said. "I will take care of it, and I will respect its history." By the end of the day, Mina had restored many parts of the truck. It was stronger, cleaner, and more alive than it had been in years. She tested the engine, and it roared with smooth power. She felt a thrill of excitement. The truck was beginning to reveal itself, and she knew that the journey had only just begun. Harold leaned on his cane and smiled faintly. "Tomorrow we may begin to see more of what it has kept hidden," he said. "Some stories take time, and patience is required." Mina nodded. "I am ready," she said. "I want to know everything the truck can teach me." As she left the garage that evening, Mina felt a sense of connection to the past, to the man, and to the remarkable vehicle. The next morning, Mina arrived at the garage with a sense of anticipation she could not shake. The sun streamed through the windows, illuminating the old pickup truck that now seemed almost alive under her care. She felt as though every bolt, every panel, and every wire carried more than just mechanical function. It carried memories. Harold arrived shortly after, carrying his leather satchel and a small metallic case. He placed them on the workbench quietly. Mina looked at him curiously. "What is that?" she asked. "This," Harold said, opening the case carefully, "contains parts of the truck that you have not yet seen. Some components were added long ago, and they are more than ordinary mechanical parts. They carry knowledge, and perhaps one day they will help you understand the story completely." Mina's eyes widened. She had suspected that the truck was unusual, but she had not imagined it held such secrets. She examined the parts carefully. Some of them were small devices with glowing circuits. Others were panels engraved with symbols and tiny writings. She realized that this vehicle was a repository of something remarkable, hidden inside an ordinary-looking truck. Harold watched quietly. "I never intended for anyone to see these," he said. "But I also know that you have the skill and the respect to handle them carefully." Mina nodded. "I will be careful," she promised. "I want to understand it, but I will not rush. I want to honor the story you and this truck carry." Over the next few hours, Mina began installing some of the advanced components into the truck. She studied the diagrams in Harold's notebook, matching them carefully to the parts in front of her. The more she worked, the more she realized that these systems were far beyond what she had ever seen. Some components appeared to record information automatically, storing memories, images, and data from the truck's journeys. Others seemed capable of analyzing situations and adjusting the truck's performance intelligently. "Harold," Mina said after a while, "this is incredible. This truck is not just advanced. It is alive in a way. It can learn, it can remember, and it can even protect you." Harold nodded slowly. "It has done all that and more. That truck has kept me safe on missions that no one knows about. Missions that helped protect people and perhaps the world itself. Few have lived to tell the story." Mina stared at him, her heart pounding. "Missions? What do you mean?" Harold paused and took a deep breath. "Many years ago, I was part of a team sent to explore dangers beyond Earth. We were not soldiers in the ordinary sense. We were chosen to protect humanity from threats that could destroy entire civilizations. That truck was my companion, my shield, and my recorder. It carried data that could be critical even now." Mina felt a mixture of awe and disbelief. She had known the truck was special, but she had never imagined such a secret history. She looked closely at the glowing circuits and intricate panels, realizing that this old vehicle had been part of something extraordinary. "Why didn't anyone know about this?" Mina asked softly. "Because it had to remain secret," Harold replied. "If the wrong people knew, it could have caused panic or worse. The work we did was dangerous and it required discretion. Most of humanity has no idea what is out there, or what has been prevented. That truck preserved information and memories that were too important to share." Mina took a deep breath. She understood that the task she had accepted was no longer ordinary. Restoring the truck was not just about fixing an engine or polishing metal. It was about uncovering history, protecting secrets, and honoring a life of sacrifice. She carefully continued her work, installing the devices and connecting the advanced wiring. The truck responded to her hands in a way that made her heart race. Its systems hummed softly, and faint lights flickered along the panels. She realized that it was aware of her presence, recognizing her as someone who respected it and Harold's story. Hours passed, and Mina became absorbed in the work. She adjusted delicate circuits, tested the systems, and carefully calibrated the devices. Every action brought her closer to understanding the truck's hidden capabilities. As she worked, she noticed faint recordings stored in the truck's memory banks. They were holographic fragments, images of landscapes, starfields, and unknown locations. She could see glimpses of missions that Harold had been part of, the challenges he had faced, and the courage he had shown. Mina's hands trembled slightly as she watched. She realized that she was witnessing history that had been lived in secrecy, sacrifices that had never been celebrated, and bravery that had gone unnoticed. Harold sat quietly on a stool nearby. He watched her work, a mixture of pride and sadness in his eyes. "You see it now," he said softly. "You see the truck and the life it represents. Few have the patience or the skill to understand what it carries." "I knew that you could," Mina nodded, unable to speak. She felt a deep respect for Harold and the life he had lived. Every detail in the truck told a story of courage, intelligence, and resilience. She realized that humans were capable of incredible feats when they combined skill with heart. As evening approached, Mina found another hidden compartment beneath the seat. She opened it carefully and discovered a small device. It looked ordinary, but when she powered it on, a holographic message appeared. The image showed Harold and several others in uniforms, standing beside strange machines and alien-looking landscapes. They were speaking quietly, planning missions and operating technology far beyond what Mina had seen on Earth. Tears welled in Mina's eyes. She realized that Harold had been part of something extraordinary. He had risked his life to protect others, and the truck had been his companion throughout. The weight of his sacrifice pressed on her heart. She had only thought of the truck as a mechanical challenge, but now she understood that it was a living memory of heroism. Harold noticed her reaction. "I never wanted anyone to feel this burden," he said quietly. "But some stories cannot remain hidden forever. You are ready to see them, because you have the skill and the respect to honor them." Mina wiped her eyes and nodded. "I understand now. This truck is more than metal and wires. It is a witness, a protector, and a reminder of what humans can do when they care enough to try." Harold smiled faintly. "Yes, and it is why I trusted you. You listen, you learn, and you respect the past. That is what makes you different." Mina spent the rest of the evening exploring the truck's systems further. She accessed logs and holographic fragments, learning more about the missions and challenges Harold had faced. She discovered that the truck had defensive systems, storage for critical data, and even mechanisms that could protect its occupants in dangerous situations. She realized that every component she repaired was part of a greater purpose. By the time night fell, Mina leaned against the truck, exhausted but fulfilled. She felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the vehicle but to Harold and the extraordinary life he had lived. She understood that her role in restoring the truck was part of preserving history and honoring courage. Harold approached her quietly. "You have done more than repair the truck today," he said. "You have begun to understand what it represents. That understanding is more important than the mechanics themselves." Mina looked at him, her eyes bright. "I want to know everything," she said. "I want to learn the full story and make sure it is preserved. I will treat it with care and respect." Harold nodded. "Then tomorrow we continue. There are still parts of the past that the truck has kept hidden, and some of those parts may be difficult to understand even for those who are patient and skilled." Mina smiled faintly. "I am ready," she said. "I want to see the truth and honor it." The garage grew quiet as the night deepened. The truck sat in the center, humming softly, its lights flickering in response to Mina's presence. It seemed to acknowledge her dedication and care, as if it recognized her as someone worthy of its secrets. Mina left the garage that night with a sense of awe. She knew that the journey ahead would be challenging and emotional, but she was determined. She had glimpsed the extraordinary life Harold had lived, the sacrifices he had made, and the courage that had carried him through unimaginable trials. As she walked home under the stars, Mina felt inspired. She realized that humans were capable of remarkable things when they combined skill, intelligence, and heart. She understood that bravery was not always about fame or recognition. Sometimes it was about quiet acts of courage, hidden sacrifices, and the determination to protect others. She thought about the truck and Harold, and she felt a deep sense of purpose. She knew that restoring the vehicle was only the beginning. The truck held a story of heroism, intelligence, and resilience. It was a story that deserved to be understood, respected, and preserved. Mina returned to the garage the next day with renewed energy. She was ready to explore the hidden truths within the truck, to uncover the full extent of Harold's past, and to learn everything the vehicle had preserved. She knew the journey would be challenging, but she was determined to see it through. The old pickup truck, once an ordinary machine, had become a living testament to courage and human ingenuity. Mina understood that in her hands it could reveal a story of heroism that would inspire anyone who learned of it, and she was ready to listen, to learn, and to honor every secret it held. Mina arrived at the garage early in the morning, the crisp air filling her lungs as she approached the truck. The sunrise painted the walls of the workshop in warm gold, reflecting off the polished surfaces of the vehicle. She felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today, she was determined to uncover more of the truck's secrets and understand the full story it held. Harold was already there, leaning on his cane and examining the truck with a quiet intensity. He noticed Mina approaching and gave a small nod. "Good morning, Mina," he said softly. "Are you ready to continue?" Yes, Mina replied. I want to learn more about what this truck has kept hidden. I want to understand everything it can show me. Harold hesitated for a moment, then carefully opened the leather satchel he always carried. Inside were several small, carefully labeled cases. Each contained parts and devices that had not yet been installed in the truck. Mina studied them with fascination. Some were simple mechanical components, but others were clearly advanced, with glowing circuits and strange symbols. These are the final pieces, Harold said. Once they are connected, the truck will reveal what it has preserved. You must handle them with care. Some of the information may be emotional, and it may take time to understand. Mina nodded, her hands steady despite the fluttering excitement in her chest. She began carefully installing the components, following Harold's instructions and the notes in his worn notebook. As she worked, she noticed the truck seemed to respond differently. Its systems hummed more clearly, lights flickering in response to her touch. She felt as if the vehicle itself was guiding her, recognizing her care and patience. Hours passed as Mina worked with precision. She adjusted circuits, connected sensors, and calibrated hidden mechanisms. Finally, she installed the last device, a small module that Harold handed her with a solemn expression. This one is different, Harold said quietly. It contains personal recordings. It preserves my memories of the missions and events I experienced. Once it is activated, you will see the full truth of what I lived through. Mina's hands trembled slightly as she connected the module. She felt a wave of anticipation and respect. This was no longer just a restoration. She was about to witness the life of a man who had given so much, whose courage had remained hidden for decades. Harold stepped back and nodded. It is ready. Please take your time, observe carefully and understand. It is a lot to take in. Mina pressed the activation button. The truck's interior lights flickered, and a soft hum filled the workshop. Then a holographic projection appeared above the dashboard. Images of Harold's younger self flashed before her eyes. He was in uniform, moving through unfamiliar landscapes, coordinating with other people who also appeared in the projections. The truck's systems displayed maps of distant places, showing challenges and missions that Mina could barely comprehend. Mina gasped. She realized that Harold had been part of operations far beyond ordinary human experience. The truck had recorded every detail, every plan, every risk they had taken. She could see the courage and determination in his eyes, and the way he had led and protected others under unimaginable pressure. Tears welled in Mina's eyes. She understood now why Harold had been so quiet about the past. The memories were not easy to carry. The sacrifices he had made, the dangers he had faced, and the people he had saved, all of it weighed heavily on him. Mina felt honored to witness this history, and she felt her heart swell with respect. The hologram shifted, showing moments of fear, moments of triumph, and moments of loss. Mina saw Harold comforting others, making impossible decisions and risking his own life for the sake of people he had never met. The truck had preserved every detail, ensuring that the story of courage and sacrifice would not be lost. Mina turned to Harold, her voice trembling. I had no idea. You risked so much, and no one knew. This is incredible. You are extraordinary. Harold smiled faintly, but his eyes held a deep sadness. It was necessary, he said softly. I did what had to be done. Recognition was never the goal. Safety and survival were. The truck preserved what I could not carry alone. Mina watched as more holographic projections played. She saw missions on distant planets, complex operations, and challenges that required both intelligence and bravery. She realized that the human spirit was capable of incredible things when guided by determination and care. She felt inspired and awed, understanding the depth of Harold's life and the trust he had placed in her. As she observed, Mina noticed something personal. The truck had recorded moments of Harold's own doubt and fear, times when he questioned his ability to continue. Yet in every projection he persisted. He found courage not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Mina felt a lump in her throat. The human heart, she realized, could endure challenges far beyond what anyone could imagine, and it could act with compassion even under the greatest pressure. Hours passed as Mina absorbed the recordings. She learned about the lives Harold had saved, the difficult decisions he had made, and the quiet moments of reflection that only he had experienced. The truck had captured it all, preserving both the heroism and the humanity behind it. Finally, the projections paused, showing Harold in the present day, standing beside the truck, quiet and reflective. Mina turned to him, her eyes filled with tears. "You carried all of this alone," she said softly. "And you never complained, you just protected, remembered, and endured." Harold nodded. That is what it meant to do. There was no other choice. Sometimes the weight of responsibility is heavy, but it teaches you strength and resilience, and it reminds you of what humans are capable of when we care for each other. Mina wiped her tears and looked at the truck. She understood now that every dent, every scratch, every panel told a story of courage. The vehicle was more than a machine. It was a testament to the human spirit. She realized that restoring it was not just about mechanics. It was about honoring lives, choices, and the power of determination. "I am so glad you trusted me with this," Mina said. "It is incredible. I feel honored to have touched even a small part of your story." Harold smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and pride in his expression. "You have more than repaired the truck," he said. "You have understood it, and by doing so you have honored everything it represents. That is more important than any restoration of metal or engines." Mina spent the remainder of the day helping Harold organize the truck's systems. She cataloged the recordings, examined the components, and ensured that the vehicle's hidden technology was fully operational. She was careful, knowing that the truck was a living memory of courage and sacrifice. Each adjustment, each connection was an act of respect. As evening approached, Mina stood back and looked at the truck. It hummed softly, lights glowing in a gentle rhythm. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment and awe. She had witnessed history, learned lessons of bravery and compassion, and understood the extraordinary life of a man who had carried the weight of the world quietly, without recognition. Harold approached her, his voice gentle. "You have done more than I could have hoped. The truck is ready to share its story, and I am ready to let the past rest, knowing it is in capable hands." Mina nodded, her eyes still misty. "I will take care of it. I will honor it and the life it represents. I will make sure the story is never forgotten." Harold smiled faintly. "That is all I could ask for. You have shown patience, skill, and respect. You have seen the truth and you have handled it with grace. That is rare." Mina felt a warmth in her chest. She realized that humans were capable of incredible courage and resilience. The story she had witnessed was one of heroism, intelligence, and compassion. It reminded her that ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things, and that the human spirit could endure challenges with strength and heart. As night fell, Mina left the garage, the truck quiet behind her. She felt a deep sense of connection to the past, to Harold, and to the human capacity for courage. She knew that tomorrow she would continue to explore the truck and its stories, but for now, she carried the weight of what she had learned. She thought about the sacrifices Harold had made, the dangers he had faced, and the quiet heroism that had defined his life. She understood that the truck was more than a machine. It was a living memory of bravery and resilience. Mina felt proud to be part of preserving it, knowing that she had learned lessons that would inspire her forever. The morning sunlight filtered through the garage windows, casting long golden beams on the old pickup truck. Mina entered the workshop with a renewed sense of purpose. After the revelations of Harold's past, she knew today would be different. She was not just repairing a machine anymore. She was helping preserve a legacy. Harold was already in the garage, sitting quietly on a stool beside the truck. He looked at Mina with a calm but thoughtful expression. "Today," he said softly, "we complete what we started. The truck has shown you the past, and now it is ready for the future. It is time for it to carry memories in a new way." Mina nodded. She approached the truck, examining every panel, wire, and device. She felt the connection she had built with it over weeks of work. It was alive in a way that went beyond mechanics. Every hum, every glow from the circuits seemed to communicate gratitude and trust. She realized that her role was no longer just that of a mechanic. She was now a guardian of history, of bravery, and of human achievement. "Where do we start?" Mina asked. Harold handed her a small notebook. "There are more recordings to organize and document. This notebook contains the lessons, the reflections, and the key memories from the missions. Your task is to help preserve them carefully, so they can inspire others when the time is right." Mina smiled faintly. "I will do it. I promise." They began the work together. Mina connected the truck's memory modules to a portable interface, carefully cataloging the recordings. Each holographic file, each log, each projection represented a moment of courage, a challenge faced and a choice made. Mina watched as the truck displayed scenes of bravery and teamwork. She saw Harold and his team navigating difficult terrain, solving complex problems and protecting people from dangers that few could imagine. As she worked, Mina felt a sense of awe and respect. She realized that humans, when guided by heart, intelligence, and determination, were capable of extraordinary achievements. She saw that the lessons embedded in Harold's story were not just about heroism, but also about patience, compassion, and persistence. Hours passed as Mina meticulously documented every memory and system. She repaired minor malfunctions, replaced worn connectors, and ensured that every part of the truck was fully functional. Harold watched quietly, offering occasional guidance. Though he spoke little, his presence carried quiet pride and relief. When she finished the first stage of the work, Mina stepped back and looked at the truck. "It is ready," she said softly. "Everything is preserved and it is strong again." Harold's eyes glistened with emotion. "It is more than I could have hoped," he said. "You have not just repaired the truck. You have honored it. You have honored me. You have ensured that the story, the courage, and the sacrifices it represents will not be forgotten." Mina felt a lump in her throat. She had come to care deeply for both the truck and the man beside it. She realized that heroism was not only about daring deeds, but also about endurance, responsibility, and the quiet act of giving everything for others. Harold had lived this truth, and now she had the privilege of preserving it. With the truck fully restored and the memories cataloged, Mina and Harold decided it was time to take it on its first journey in years. The vehicle had been idle for decades, but now it purred with energy and confidence. Mina adjusted the controls carefully, testing each function. The engine roared smoothly and the lights and systems responded perfectly. Harold leaned on his cane and smiled faintly. "It is ready," he said. "You have done everything with skill and respect. Today it will carry memories, not burdens." Mina opened the door for him. "Shall we go?" she asked. "Yes," Harold said. He climbed into the driver's seat, his movements careful but steady. The truck responded to his weight, adjusting and stabilizing as if it recognized him. Mina took the passenger seat, feeling a thrill of excitement. She realized that this ride was more than a test. It was a symbolic journey connecting past and present human courage and memory. They drove slowly through the town, the hum of the engine echoing softly. Mina watched as Harold's eyes scanned the streets and buildings. She noticed a quiet pride in his expression, a sense of connection to the life he had lived and the people he had protected. The truck carried more than him. It carried the story of his sacrifices and victories. As they drove, Harold shared quiet reflections. "It is strange," he said. "After all these years, I feel that I am finally free of the weight I carried. Not because the work is forgotten, but because it is honored." "You have ensured that it lives on," Mina nodded. "It is a privilege to help preserve it," she said. "Your story, the truck, everything you experienced, it is important. It teaches us what humans can do when we care and persevere." The sun rose higher in the sky as they drove along winding roads outside the town. Mina looked at the truck and realized how far it had traveled, not just in distance but in purpose. It had carried challenges, victories, and history. It had preserved courage in every panel, every engine part, and every hidden system. By afternoon, they stopped at a quiet hill overlooking the landscape. Mina and Harold stepped out of the truck, looking at the horizon. The vehicle stood gleaming in the sunlight, restored to life, yet carrying a depth of history that went far beyond its appearance. Harold turned to Mina. "Thank you," he said quietly. "You have done more than fix a truck. You have preserved hope, courage, and memory. You have reminded me, and perhaps you as well, that humans can achieve extraordinary things when we act with heart and determination." Mina smiled. "I learned from you," she said. "From the truck, from your story. Humans are capable of so much more than we sometimes realize. You taught me that courage and care are the most powerful tools we have." Harold placed a hand on the truck, patting the polished metal gently, "And now it will carry those lessons forward. Not just for me, but for anyone who can see the truth in what it represents." Mina felt tears welling in her eyes. She realized that this journey was about more than machines. It was about humanity, about bravery, wisdom, compassion, and legacy. The truck was a reminder that ordinary people could carry extraordinary responsibilities, and that even quiet, hidden heroism mattered deeply. As they prepared to return to town, Mina noticed the way the truck responded to her touch. Its systems were smooth, its lights steady, and its engine hummed like a living companion. She felt a connection to it, understanding that restoring it had not only repaired metal and circuits, but it also honored history and heart. Driving back, Mina and Harold spoke quietly about life, courage, and perseverance. Harold shared small lessons he had learned, and Mina listened attentively, realizing that the true reward of her work was understanding the human spirit. She felt proud to be part of this story, knowing that it would remain a source of inspiration for years to come. When they returned to the garage, Harold looked at Mina with a soft smile. "You have ensured that the truck is ready for the future," he said, "and you have shown me that the human heart can endure, preserve, and inspire. I could not ask for more." Mina nodded, feeling warmth and pride. "It is an honor," she said. "I will continue to care for it, and I will make sure its story is respected. Your courage, your experiences, and the lessons it carries will never be forgotten." Harold leaned back on his stool, a sense of peace in his eyes. "Thank you, Mina. You have given me more than a restored truck. You have given me hope that the past, the sacrifices, and the bravery can continue to inspire others." Mina smiled, feeling a deep connection to both the man and the machine. She knew that the truck was more than metal and wiring. It was a living memory, a testament to the extraordinary potential of humans, and a reminder that courage and care could shape the world. As the sun set over the horizon, Mina stepped outside the garage, looking back at the truck gleaming in the fading light. She felt a sense of fulfillment and purpose. She had learned lessons of bravery, resilience, and the power of human heart. She had preserved a legacy that would inspire anyone who learned of it. The old pickup truck, once silent and forgotten, now carried memories, history, and inspiration. It was ready to face the future, and so were the people who had restored it. Mina understood that the true HFY message lay not just in the mechanics, but in the spirit of humans, the courage to act, the wisdom to endure, and the heart to honor what is truly important. Harold stood beside her, his eyes reflecting the last light of the day. "This is the future," he said softly. "The story continues because humans like you care. That is the greatest achievement of all." Mina nodded, feeling tears of pride and joy. She had seen the past, preserved it, and now witnessed the beginning of a new chapter. The truck would carry its story forward, and in doing so, it would remind everyone that humans are capable of extraordinary courage, intelligence, and heart. Together, Mina and Harold stood in silence, looking at the truck and the horizon beyond. They understood that the journey had ended in one sense, but had only just begun in another. The truck, the memories, and the human spirit it represented would continue to inspire, reminding all who saw it that bravery, determination, and care were the truest marks of humanity. And with that, Mina felt a sense of completion. She had restored more than a truck. She had restored history, honored courage, and preserved the human spirit for the future.